Wayne, I was really enjoying this year's NFL playoff season. I thought we had a lot of great games, a lot of twists and turns. Things mostly went the way they're supposed to. The one thing that did not go my way was Mr. Brock Purdy. I really jumped firmly on the Brock Purdy bandwagon. I was driving this bandwagon all the way to the Super Bowl, and him and Chaba Chuba gonna be, the best brother combo known to man. Wayne, what happened to my boy Brock Purdy? I don't get it. I'm still in shock. He should have been in there facing the Chiefs and hosting the Lombardi Trophy. I'm still crying in my cereal.
Well, that game, the injury, I just that was horrible. I mean, it didn't look that bad in real time, and then when you saw the force of his arm going forward and just, I believe it's an ulnar rip, right? Now I think they said they're not going to, yeah, but they said they're not it's not surgery. They're somehow they're going to put it in a brace or something like that.
Maybe AI is going to fix it. I have no.
I could be wrong about that. But I believe I read that it was just like they're going to brace it or something. Look, and the crazy thing is here that he wants to get back in the game. I'm like, dude, your arm doesn't work, right? The kind of the nutty thing about that game though is that when it was all over with, and people were like, oh, 31-7, blah 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 blah, or whatever the final was. I'm like, hey, that game was 7-7, and San Fran's defense had shut them down on 2 or 3 consecutive drives, and then they got called for 4 or 5 penalties in a row, 2 of which was I mean, we could talk about the Eagles penalty in a bit in the Super Bowl, but 2 or 3 of those penalties were just non-existent penalties, and I thought, yeah, you can't blame the referees for a 31-7 loss, but you can say that they dramatically changed the course of the game when you just kept giving them extra chances. 3rd down and 8, defensive holding. Okay, the dude had 2 fingers on the guy's back. Like, give me a break. So it irritated me. It wasn't that I didn't expect Philadelphia to win that game or it was going to be a toss-up one way or the other. Just I don't like having to watch the referees make that much of an effect on the game, right?
I mean, you go look at the Eagles' numbers in a 31-7 win. You're thinking this was so dominant, and look at Jalen Hurts' numbers. If you don't see the final score, you would think the game may have gone in a totally different way. Like, that's is where when it came time to bet for the Super Bowl, my money was on the Chiefs, and I won it because guess what? Mm-hmm. I saw the way they beat the Bengals, and I said they're going to do the exact same thing to the Eagles, which is exactly what happened. But in fairness, the way the 49ers were rolling, the way Purdy was rolling, he doesn't get that injury. They're your Super Bowl champions. I don't see how they weren't, or they would have been much closer. I think they had a much better chance than the Eagles against that Chiefs team. So, I mean, it's a heartbreaking loss. You lose him, then your 4th string quarterback gets injured, right? James Johnson, whoever would.
Josh Johnson.
Sure.
Josh Johnson, who was
he a pitcher for the Marlins?
He was probably more effective as a pitcher for the Marlins. Josh Johnson is one of those guys that they do not write his name in a story without well-traveled placed in front of it. I think 8 or 9 different teams, and Josh Johnson's a fine athlete and everything, but I mean, you get down to that level, like, my gosh. And
when you're almost in the Super Bowl, you're right there, and you got to bring in a quarterback that his name is on Velcro on the jersey, you're in trouble. So, I mean, just heartbreaking. And now I got to ask you, like, first of all, what is the future of Brock Purdy now? Like, where is he headed? Like, as I don't think there's going to be anywhere but surgery. They can delay it all they want, but looking at that injury and reading about the severity of it, I think it's inevitable, and you never know where people recover from those type of surgeries. So first of all, where do you think his future lies, his immediate future and long-term future?
Well, I'm just checking here to look. Oh, no, they have set the surgery now for the 22nd.
Are you on WebMD? Okay.
No, I'm looking at ESPN and just said they have decided. Yeah, they have decided now that they are going to do the surgery. So
Thank goodness.
initially they were talking about, oh, they're just going to put in a brace or whatever. And I'm like, you have a complete URL tear. How in the world can you not? So anyway, they're going to do it. They say he's going to be healed by the time it's a 6-month recovery, and he'll be back in time for not for any of the OTAs, I don't think, or anything like that, but he should be ready to go by the preseason.